Hey everybody, welcome to the Insufferable Bastards podcast. My name is Carlos Danger for the purposes of this broadcast, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Brian Spears. Hello, Brian.
Hello.
So we've got a busy agenda for you this evening on this shitty podcast. I'll go through real quickly. We're going to talk about Shuli from the Uncle Rico Show and the Shuli Show, and formerly of the Howard Stern Show, getting some heat from the Dabblers Anonymous subreddit on Reddit for apparently not properly attributing material he's using on that wonderful, funny program called the Uncle Rico Show. So a little bit of drama in the Dabbleverse. We are Dabbler adjacent. Also, I wanted to talk about, we were a topic of discussion several times this week by the Steel Toe Morning Show. They roasted us lightly a little bit about our vaping habits. Even though I don't vape, I think it's gross. I don't smoke cigarettes. I think it's gross. Brian, are you a vapor? I know you used to smoke, but you're not doing anything anymore, are you?
I mean, you know, if somebody's got something, I might.
And so part of it was my fault too, but we'll go into it in a second. Also related to that, JimStancil of the Ski Mask Collective is still angry at us, even though I have publicly apologized for a slight that I offended Ski Mask Collective. I have apologized many times. We're going to talk about our clip of the week. We've never had a clip of the week before, so I just figured let's do a clip of the week. And it happens to be the Ski Mask Collective. I'm also going to talk about Dabble Court. That was a big development this week. We're going to talk about our most watched videos of 2022. We're a movie review podcast where no one watches our movie reviews. The only time anybody watches this podcast is when we talk about Stuttering John, Chad Zumach, or stuff going on in Dabbleverse. So we're gonna talk about what that means for the future of this broadcast in 2023. And then if we get to it, we're gonna talk about a random Quentin Tarantino clip that I shared with Brian earlier, but I didn't do the necessary research I wanted to do to properly discuss it. So we are 100% professional tonight, Mr. Spears, which brings us to our first topic, right? So earlier this week, and I don't know when it was because I've been on vacation all week, Christmas, New Year's, all that good stuff. But I was watching a lot of Steel Toe Morning Show, a program that I've been watching for a couple of months now, relatively new. I guess the last 4 months I started getting into it. And I like it. I am a fan. So we were brought up, and they've brought us up before in very nice ways. This time, not quite as complimentary as the previous broadcast, which when he brought us up in the past, I always felt weird because, I mean, we're we're the lowest of low tier. We're about as bottom feeding as you can get. I mean, not like that, what's her name, Elisa Jordana level of manipulating people and being creepy, but we're fully aware of what our station is in the podcast universe. Like right now, I can't figure out how to share this, right? So I don't know if you've watched any of this, Brian. I shared it with you, but I don't know if you had a chance to check it out.
Steel Toe? I don't think you shared.
Yes, we're talking about Steel Toe.
I know, you didn't share any clips.
I didn't?
No, you never sent any, so.
Okay, let's see which one is this.
I'll watch them now.
Yeah,
I mean, we discussed it heavily.
We can react to this one. So this is from Steel Toe Morning Show on 12/27/22. The headline was something about Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg was up to something this week. What exactly? I'm not sure because I don't really keep track of the View. But let's go. So this is the beginning of the broadcast, and to give it, you can see that, right, Brian?
Oh yeah, I see it.
To give it some context, this was December 27th, the night before. This podcast finally got out on an international stage by being a part of Dabbler Court, the first ever court in the history of the Dabblerverse, right? I think you'll have, in terms of the Howard Stern universe, you'll have Howard leaves WNBC, Jackie leaves the show, Artie leaves the show, Dabbler Court. I think it's going to be in that order. So I tuned in to Aaron and Steel Toe Morning Radio thinking he was going to talk about it, right? Because we had done a pre-show. We did a fake news report leading in to Dabble Court, which went pretty well, I thought. So here's what happened.
I just hate starting off the day that way, you know? Also, I was watching a couple things yesterday. I did watch that Dabble Court with Cardiff, and I was watching the Insufferable Bastards. I like those guys, But one of the co-hosts was doing something, and it really annoyed the shit out of me.
Huh?
And I know this is a me hang up, but I demand a certain level of professionalism. Believe it or not, when you do that, when you do this, when you're doing a show and everything else, I enjoy when I'm watching a show a certain amount of professional conduct, if you will. And I see one of these co-host guys, and if you're a co-host guy especially, fucking on your best behavior. You know, you sit there, you listen to the host, you respond to the host, you keep the ball in the air, you go where he wants to go. That's how you do being a good co-host. I see one of the co-hosts on Insufferable Bastards. He's sitting there. Let me find something that'll look. Yeah, you know what? I'll go with a lip balm. He's sitting there with a vape, and he's and then blowing the clouds out and everything else. That's I tell you what, when I hear people taking hits of that vape when they're doing shows, I don't know why it drives me nuts so much. It just reeks of low class. It reeks of unprofessional. I hate it. So if you're watching and you're doing a show or you're thinking about starting a podcast, we cannot do the vape for a couple of minutes.
How? Hey, first of all, Aaron, I'm from Connecticut. I live in Connecticut, sir. How dare you, Minnesotan, call me low class? But hey, you know what? I mean, I didn't notice. He's talking about Mondo Creepy, yes, who is, in terms of technology and professionalism in this realm of the world, in terms of technology and being able to pull something like this off, Mondo Creepy is heads and shoulders above you and I. But whatever. I mean, when he does this podcast, we've had him on multiple times. He always has the shittiest microphone, the shittiest camera, even though he has access to better stuff. And he was vaping, and I guess that annoyed Aaron. So that was day one. And then on day two, something else happened. Let me see if I can bring that up as well. We were brought up again.
Uh-oh.
Which I think we had 3. I'm not even going through all of them. I think we were shit upon 3 times by the end of the week. My head was spinning. This might have been later. You know, he does like shows in the morning, at brunch,
in the evening,
at dinner. Yeah, so this might have all been one day. I'm not even sure. I'm gonna share this son of a bitch. There's our friend Aaron, and that's his wife April.
All right, so this is an evening one if she's on.
Well, she's on in the morning, too. She just wasn't on that first one. Well, you know what I wanted to mention, though? The only thing in our defense, as Aaron is talking about how he hates the sound of vaping, I totally agree with him. But he sounded like he had some type of life-threatening nasal rot going on. Like
does he have a cold?
Yeah, he
has a cold.
He had a full-on in need of antibiotic nasal infection happening there. I just was worried he was going to just drop. So didn't bother me, but God forbid Matt vapes.
I just don't know the rules for podcasting because everybody, some
be
people
be better than us.
Well, all right, but still, there's other podcasts that vape all the time.
There is, that's I'm not even going to play that. I'll mention that too. But I was just like, I was so psyched. I was the sonographer on Dabbler Court. I sat there like a deer in headlights for almost 3 hours. And Matt fucked us by vaping. All right, here he is on day 2 or volume 2. I don't know what.
To do I hate him or do I like him? You probably wouldn't end up on you hate him.
Oh, okay, wait. That brings us, hold on, little diversion here. He's talking about Shuli right there. I'm going to go back to that in a second. People in the chat were going after Shuli, right? So I guess we should talk about that real quick because I think I have a solution. And actually, the solution was posted in Dabblers Anonymous. So Shuli does Uncle Rico, Brian, as you know, essentially a clip show. And all the clips, not all the clips, but traditionally, anything funny you see related to Stuttering John over the last year or so in terms of clips or memes or images or whatever, all originates in Dabblers Anonymous. That is definitely the paper of record for Stuttering John.
Well, I was going to say, if it was coming from the Shuli show, it probably wasn't the funny stuff. So the funny stuff comes from...
Now, all right, look, we already had Aaron shitting on us. I love the Uncle Rico show. I love it.
I can't have an opinion anywhere.
You can, but I'm trying to. You're talking into the top of your microphone, by the way. You got to raise that fucker up so Aaron doesn't.
I mean, it's right here.
It's but you see where you're headed. You're kind of all right. Anyway, because you're always lower. You're always lower than me, and I got you cranked all the way up, you son of a bitch, and then you argue with me about it's your. All right. So anyway, so Shuli had, I guess it was the advent calendar, right? Every day in Dabblers Anonymous. Our friend, I believe it's Kinky Loco, because on Reddit, it's Joe's Got a Reddit. On Twitter, he did these wonderful every day, like a year in review of the Stuttering John stuff. And one day, Shuli used a bunch of them on his show. And the Dabblers were like, hey, man, you're not like crediting the person who did it, the creator. And so Shuli did this video. I won't play it because it's in Dabblers Anonymous, where he kind of turned a little heel, I thought, for a moment. And I love Shuli. But I thought, like, the thing is, and people got really angry at him because they're like, dude, you're making money off all this. You can, you have to credit us the way we want to be credited. And he was kind of saying, well, if I do this, they won't be happy. If I do it another way, they won't be happy, and so on and so forth. And I think all Shuli has to do is, if he has a list of clips and he knows where they're originating from Dabblers Anonymous, I'm sure he has a list of them, right? Just either put it at the end of his show or put it in the YouTube description. Right, we did that at our year in review thing when we reviewed like the best moment in the Dabblerverse, right? The name and the specific link to where you got it, and problem solved. Because I do, as a guy in local news, the old-fashioned print way, I can't tell you on a daily basis how often radio shows and TV shows would just rip off your stuff. So I get why the Dabblers are annoyed at that aspect of what's going on. But I think that's the solution. You can't, you can argue they're not going to be happy, but if you're going to use someone's work, even though you are transforming, it's transformative content and all that good stuff, you should attribute it in a way that's agreed upon and the way the person who created it wants, right? That's just basically, that's the way Wikipedia works. So that's my 2 cents on that. All right, so back to Aaron shitting on us. You have anything to add? You just don't like Shuli. You still haven't come around. You don't watch Uncle Rico, though.
I have tried. He's just not funny. I'm sorry, guys. I don't get him.
I think he's hilarious and a good guy. And the reason the only reason anybody ever watches this podcast is because we interviewed him.
And I'm not.
He agreed to an interview with us.
Hey, man, some people like coffee. Some people like tea.
You wouldn't. Smudgy says Shuli and the Whack Pack were annoying. You could say that you end at Shuli's annoying to you. That's
Brian Smudgy.
Taste. That's fine. But hating him? I don't know.
I don't feel like you should hate any kind of like a personality, an internet personality, a show personality.
Oh, that's not true. Hate away.
Do you need to hate somebody, or can you just look the other way?
I think when people say hate of a personality, they mean
I
it like I
want
really
the
don't like
comments in here.
I don't think hate is the
choppy
right
as
word.
hell.
Shuli is a fucking bitch who copyright strikes
that.
clips of his shows while running an entire show off clipping Stuttering John. I played clips of Shuli's show. He's never clipped me, so I can't speak to that. And Dabblers Unanimous is right. It's the internet. What do you expect? All right, let's give these people a show. I do want to comment real quick. I think I accidentally started a blood feud between us and the Insufferable Bastards podcast.
Blood feud?
I didn't mean to. I wasn't trying to start a blood feud. But Carlos Danger informed me that his second or third mic, which isn't going to help that I didn't remember his name.
Thank the Lord Jesus Christ I happened to be watching as this was said, because the last thing I need is Aaron and April have a very committed YouTube audience, as you can see there on the right-hand side. I do not need them coming after me. I got
did
kids.
Not appreciate my take on vaping. You know how last night...
Which was, obviously, it's gay, right?
It was part of the Cardiff thing where I unleashed this wonderful sound drop. Fuck the producer. Okay.
Yes.
Mondo Creepy. Thank you, Insufferable Bastards. I like that name. I like Carlos Danger and I like Mondo Creepy. But I was saying that Mondo Creepy, I'm trying to watch Insufferable Bastards, and I got a guy doing a show, and he's just sitting there going...
You see, I love that one guy, whoever, Bombacillo, Insufferable Vapors. Okay, I just want to pay. I don't mean to interrupt, but right there on the bottom, JimStancil.
Yes.
I see JimStancil once in a blue moon in this chat. I didn't think it was him, but this is JimStancil. The Insufferable Bastards canceled on Ski Mask Collective, and I'll never forgive them. That was months ago.
Don't do that. Don't do.
It's Aaron taking a shit
Stop
on Matt
that.
again.
Right? Doesn't that fucking suck?
It hurts my ears.
So I may have went off on that rant on the show, and because I'm performing, I maybe got a little animated about it. And I was informed by Carlos Danger of the Insufferable Bastards podcast that Mondo Superman or
Creepy.
I got a lot.
I don't like
Mondo
this name.
Creepy.
Yes, I don't
Okay.
like the name.
Mondo Creepy.
Okay, he's named Mondo Creepy because he created a. I'm sorry, hold on, I'm vaping. He created a horror hostess show. He's the director, the writer, and so the channel's called Mondo Creepy.
Has an addiction or he's got a dependency and it wasn't appreciated that I went after it and so on and so forth. So it sounds like there's
None
some
of which
making
is
up to do. I feel terrible about it. I just wanted to make fun of a guy vaping. I didn't think it would hit so hard. I sometimes
I don't think this is like something to worry about.
I think it's a blood feud brewing. And
Oh, what's that? Damn, April. Can at least you can. Oh, Brian disappeared. Oh, no, there you are. But she's. I guess we're on the pay no mind list right there. So anyway, that was Steel Toe Morning Show, which is great. I mean, we got to have that guy on. I'd love to talk to him because I have theories. As a local news guy, and I would love to just tap his brain. So definitely, like in the new year, let's have him on. But it's something I want to sort of prepare for and have a conversation with, because I'm fascinated by the fact that's a guy that was, I don't know what mid-market or small market or whatever the term is for that type of radio, regional radio, local radio, whatever you call it. And he's essentially syndicated his own radio station, his own radio program himself nationally. And he's building a big following and quickly. So that is something that I'd like to learn more about, But getting back to JimStancil, yes, I did cancel on... Brian, are you vaping? No. I did cancel months ago on the Ski Mask Collective. Like, I'm not anonymous, right? Brian, you're not anonymous on this thing. And I wanted to go on Ski Mask because I watch the show, especially their sad Chad stuff, quite religiously. But also, I'm like, if I go on there, I'm going to lose my job. That's like half these podcasts. I've been asked, I think I'm to go on 3 podcasts. I've done Ray DeVito because I know he's my guy. But I just feel like I'll just be immediately fired.
Should have worn masks years ago.
I know we should have. We would have such a huge listenership if we started out anonymous and just said what we wanted to say.
Stories from the movie sets and everything. Oh,
right, we'd be gossip, right? Talking about horror conventions and arrests and all that good stuff. But no, you get the boring version. I kill the comedy on whatever podcast. The few podcasts I've appeared on, I bring it to a grinding halt, as you could have seen on Dabble Court the other night. But okay, so Ski Mask Collective, JimStancil and Ski Mask host had on Keanu Thompson this week on their broadcast. She's the stand-up comedian, girlfriend to Gino Bisconte, constant victim of harassment by the greatest living comic, Kevin Brennan. So as part of that show, Chad Zumach went home to Cleveland from Florida and did his birthday show. And there were some internet rumors going on that it was sold out or nobody went and this and that. So here's the clip. So Ski Mask is known to make phone calls. He called up the club. Give me 1 second. All this dead air is great, right? I don't know how to do that. Ski Mask Collective, share the tab.
I'm just curious to see if I need to add another comic to the show, or if I could.
So Ski Mask called under the guise of he was a manager of another comedy club, and this like stereotypical Midwestern woman, nice as a peach pie, is that even a term? Just gives him all the information. Is immediately charmed by him. It's just naturally polite and is totally taken advantage of by this Ski Mask host. Who, he's a known degenerate in a lovable way.
So I want to know how many people were actually at the
Smart.
show.
He's better than me.
Well, no one's better than you, cutie.
But we did good for a Tuesday night right after Christmas. You got to think of that too.
Right.
And we had cold. It's been really cold here.
All right.
So,
Yeah.
we were really happy with them.
And you had Chad Zumach.
I'm sure the comedy was cold too. So I just want to know how many seats you think you maybe have filled. Just give me a guess.
Hold on.
This bitch doesn't know what guess means. Gas, damn it! We got a show to do.
So and all these he just get I think it was he sold 65 out of 180. He sold out roughly half, I guess. But I just thought this was really funny that
They were
these
on
guys
Brennan talking about that today.
Oh, okay.
And, Ray DeVito stuck up and,
I believe that was yesterday. It was yesterday because today they had another broadcast.
Okay.
So yesterday. Okay, cool.
And he basically said 65 is great there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Especially, they're like, it's like 28 below. And yeah, it's so good.
And
I thought everything was good about that. And I know Ski Mask Collective, they're sort of, they have like a beef going on. It's like a personal thing, but with Jim Grindle from the FGTZ network. And I've been listening they do a show called Night Creeps with the guy, Jim Grindle, and this guy, I believe his name is his online name is Luke of the Bind. And the show, and I mentioned to you or mentioned this to you previously, Brian, it's sort of scary. Like you tune in, it's like, I don't know who these guys are, or what they're up to. It kind of like you first see them. It's like, are they planning violence or is this like, am I supposed to be watching this? Do they realize this is being live streamed? It has that kind of like vibe, but then they start talking and they both kind of remind me of you a little bit, right? Cause you're an artist, right? You're hiding behind your microphone though.
Yeah. I mean,
all right. So you work with your hands. You're a sculptor.
Yeah.
And I think Luke is like a singer, writer, and Jim Grindle must be some type of artist just by the way they talk about things. And they're talking about how when they do things, they have to have stuff on in the background. It just reminded me of you, knowing you forever. Like when you're doing a sculpture or you're working on something for movies, how there's always like, you'll have random movies on or Howard Stern on and stuff like that.
I have a radio playing now and I have 2 TVs on all the time.
Yeah, it's just all this, I don't know. So like, and after a while, I'm just like, these guys, they're like doing a metaphysical look at what's funny. And in terms of this YouTube stuff, what works and what's a character, I've tuned in a couple of times and each time I'm interested in what they're saying. So Ski Mask Collective and Jim Grindle of the FGTZ network are 12 listeners. If you don't know them already, check them both out. And then Jim Grindle was talking the other night about he was in Terra Firma, I guess, back in the day. Okay, he was connected to Trauma and Jersey and all that good stuff. So again, and JimStancil and Ski Mask live like 10 minutes from me. We're all sort of in the same tri-state area. Maybe that's why I'm attracted to them. So anyway, that's Night Creeps. The other thing, I was on Dabble Court this week.
Congratulations.
So thought I would just take a second to talk about what I was doing there. I actually don't know what I was doing there, but it was a lot of fun. Anybody who doesn't know, there was a real beef, like a legit, like vitriolic, spiteful beef between Why Do I Podcast, Kevin Dumbfuck, and El Horrible from the Dabbler network on YouTube. They really butted heads, and so they went on, or Dabbler went on Dabbler Court with Cardiffelectric as the judge to make a ruling, and the result would decide who would be banished from the Dabblerverse. So I had emailed Cardiff because I had this idea, hey, why don't we do a news show? Why don't we cover it like Nightline and do an advanced show telling people what to expect and what the issues are, speculating on what our thoughts are on it, leading into Cardiff's show, So I told Cardiff, hey, we're going to do that just to make sure like I wasn't stepping on anybody's toes, you know what I mean? And then I told him, hey, if you want a character witness, Kevin Dumbfuck donated once to this show. Like we've had one donation, one time I put on YouTube when we first got access to the community section of YouTube. I did a poll, like, would you throw any money at this podcast? And it was like overwhelmingly no. But Kevin Dumbfuck, I set up a link and he donated $10. And this is way back when. This was, he was like brand new. And because, we've been sort of shitting around YouTube forever, but no one's ever listened to us. So anyway, that came up. Dabbler turned that against me brilliantly, I thought. I'm waiting the whole time. When is Cardiff going to call me so I can stick up for Kevin? And then Dabbler brought it up first. Yeah. He totally knocked down my credibility, and but then Kevin ended up winning. But I mean, we all love B. Dabbler. The dude's a hugely talented and funny guy, I think. So I thought I would go ahead.
Kevin's gonna do these crazy live shows now, I'm glued, man. If he's I think I said it the other day to you, he's like the Kevin Brennan of nobodies. Yeah. He's like getting crazy and angry.
The Kevin Brennan of nobodies. Yes,
it is exactly.
It's got to lay off the J word.
Listen,
stuff.
I'm not
like,
saying
that's the only ease that back, dude. Ease
I
that
agree
back.
With you.
He's gonna lose his channel.
I agree. I don't agree.
I mean,
with
he's Jewish for anybody he's Jewish, but he really hammers that.
Yeah, listen,
it's almost like
the show, but I'm trying to be.
Well, I think he does it like the way you say all the time. I say like all the time. Like it's almost he just brings that up constantly. But I'm just worried he's gonna his whole channel is gonna get yanked. Yeah, because taken out of context, it's bad.
But I like that he's arguing with his everyone commenting. I like his angriness, like the irateness in him. Like if that's his gimmick, it's excellent.
It's gimmick. If he's drinking a gallon of vodka, and then by the end of it, he's just out of his mind.
I'm not up on all your guys' verses. Stuttering John quotes his gimmick. Like his.
I
understand it's not like he's just being real, but he's delivered probably the 2 or 3 shows in the last week that have been the most real I've seen in this Dabble verse. Is what I mean.
They were outstanding, and Aaron brought that up too. Just how compulsively watchable and listenable that fighting and drama has been.
I don't follow this world as deeply as you go. I'm not as deep as you go, but the last week has been fascinating.
All right, so here is, this is my personal favorite moment from Dabble Court. I don't know if you caught this.
Yes. So please, be Dabbler, be horrible, whatever your name is, please continue.
Yes. Well, I think I'm proving my point more and more as we go, Your Honor. But let's look at Exhibit K.
I queued it up at the wrong place. Oh no! I missed my spotlight. Aaron's going to be so angry at us. Anyway, what I was trying to share with you was the part where Cardiffelectric announces that he broke a record for his single highest viewership in a live stream, and then credits to not Aaron, who had just joined the broadcast.
Yes.
But to me, Carlos Danger, that would have been fucking good if I didn't fuck it up. I wonder if I fucked these other ones up too. Let's see. What is this? This is the end of the broadcast, which I thought, and this has been played elsewhere, but while this was happening, I thought my head was going to explode. I was laughing so hard. 3 hours just sitting there, and I was reading the chat the whole time and interacting and telling people when I had to urinate. But then this happened.
He's a nice guy.
I need to speak directly to the Dabblers, to the Dabble universe. What we've seen this evening is not something that I want to see again. 2 giants in the Dabbler universe.
Fucking out of your mind.
Please mute yourself.
Okay, sorry. Fucking nut.
2 giants in the Dabbler universe have collided into each other. Now, obviously, this was going to happen eventually. Momentum is a force that sometimes you can't fight. And when 2 of the greatest dabblers in the Dabbler universe are on a track that unfortunately, because of Stuttering John, have been placed on the same track. Yes, I said it. The tracks are on tracks. I want you all to think about that. I want you all, if you have children, I want you to hug your children tight tonight. If you don't have children, I want you to make some children tonight.
I don't know. For my money, that was the highlight, definitely of my podcasting career, Stuttering John quotes. Cardiff Electric.
I mean, listen, he makes this whole Dabbleverse funny for me. Like I don't follow everything, go as deep as you go, but that guy, that potato is pound for pound the funniest thing that's out there.
He's a Julio Cesar Chavez of not only the Dabbleverse, the way he weaves together in and out. He's on Chrissy Mayer one night, and he's on Steel Toe. He was on Steel Toe the next morning. He's everywhere. The Dr. Steve show, other podcasts, drops into our podcast the night. And actually, I have a clip of this too. We had him on. We did our our polls for the best TV show of the year, best podcast moment of the year. And I invited him on, and he comes on for a second. Well, actually, no, he brings on Lorenzo. He gives the password stuff to whatever to get on here to Lorenzo Areola, and which was awesome because that guy was awesome, and it was great to have him on. That night he was dropping into another podcast that was live streaming. Ray DeVito and Stevie Lou, which is, I'll play this for Aaron. Those guys are the new Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis, Ray DeVito, and Stevie Lou. So this is the SJ Puppet making an appearance. And I think this is from December. What is it? From December 23rd, the Ray DeVito Rock Bottom podcast. If I can find it. There it is. Boom.
Cardiff, if you're a felon.
I'm not Cardiff, SJ Puppet.
Oh, sorry, SJ Puppet. If you're a felon from Ohio, you can't vote.
SJ Puppet. No speaking it. Stoner.
Interesting. Oh, man. Fuck. Hey, can we
listen, you hippie fuck? I'm tired of this.
So again, I mean, Jesus Christ, that dude's funny. You still there?
Yeah, I think so. I'm having some computer issues, but I'm still here as far as I know.
Oh, yeah, we might have to go back to Zoom. As much as everyone loves StreamYard because you can
I can't see anything on the screen. My screen just is white, so I'm just...
Yeah, this might be a StreamYard thing because we finally made the transition to StreamYard, and I just don't think the audio quality... I mean, nobody wants to hear this. I think we'll go back to Zoom. But the only other thing I'll do, Brian, since we are... And also, these clips are a little choppy, and they're not that way on Zoom. I just wanted to quickly go over the videos on YouTube that people watch the most in 2022 of the Insufferable Bastards YouTube channel. I mean, we do release audio only as well. So of all these episodes, we also convert them into audio only. But this year, we've tried video in the past. No one ever watched. And this year, we decided to try again. We've always done audio. That was sort of our first priority, but we switched it up this year. Anyway, nobody gives a fuck about that either. So, all right, number 5 with about 2,700 views. The video we did were Elisa Jordana and Benji Pure Shtick Coma. That was like look we did at the history of Elisa Jordana on the Howard Stern show. Then number 4 with about 2,800 views was the audio only Shuli's Not Done with Stuttering John Yet. That was actually a interview I did for my day job, but I put it on Insufferable Bastards because Shuli cursed so much and I don't know how to edit. Number 3, Cardiff Electric talks Stuttering John, Chad Zumock. Who are these podcasts? And I don't know what else I asked him about. That got about 3,300 views. Number 2, this was a surprise because this had sort of mixed reaction from our likes, right? This got it got way more likes, but it also had a significant number of dislikes, was our movie review. Stuttering John Melendez on One Too Many, where we did a serious review of One Too Many starring Stuttering John. But I had watched it on Amazon. We couldn't play clips from it because when I tried to share the clip, Amazon protects it somehow, this high-tech stuff. So it was a lot of me just talking like I am right now. And even when I went back and watched the episode, I was like, "Ugh, that's rough." But a lot of people made it through, and there were some decent comments saying, "Oh, that was something else." And then our number 1 video of the year, and I think this is also now of all time of this shitty podcast, Shuli Egar, Stuttering John Melendez gets no quarter with about 9,000 views as of this morning. So yeah, thank you so much to Shuli for doing that. That was a thing where I reached out again. I'm a local reporter, and Shuli was doing a show in my area, so I contacted him and said, "Hey, can I do an advance of your show? We'll do it as a podcast. I'll put it in 2 different places," and blah blah. He totally agreed. And then when we went live, I don't think he knew I had asked. I thought I had said I was going to do video, but I don't think he was prepared for it because he had sort of the phone almost aiming right at his crotch at first. And then he's rolling a joint the whole time. And I'm like, "Oh, well, I can't put this on the day job. So, because, you don't want to offend. It's this family newspaper. You got to be PG. So, but anyway, Shuli's won me over, Brian. You should love him too. Uncle Rico Show's funny. But
I'll
that's
have
that.
to trust you.
Then in terms of, I just sniffled into the microphone too. In terms of stuff I've watched lately, Brian, we had talked briefly, since we are a movie review podcast, you can see by that list, no one gives a shit about us talking movies or TV. Bullet Train, I turned that shit off with Brad Pitt. I just couldn't. It was so obnoxious and so full of itself and so stylized. I've never hated a movie so quickly. Just instantly hated it with Brad Pitt talking to what? He's got a phone on him. It's like, what is it? Get Smart. Hated it. I tried watching the HBO Max documentary Miss Cleo. I made it about 3 minutes. They're talking about Miss Cleo, the old 976 psychic, as if she was Oprah in the opening. Because every documentary has to set up, the first 10 minutes of every documentary plays like a preview for the documentary you're watching. It's like, just get into the story. You don't have to not everyone's the greatest of all time. And then on Netflix, I also watched the true crime documentary Texas Killing Fields, which is basically half these Netflix documentaries come down to the fact that in 1982, there was no internet and cops didn't call each other. So you could go around, kill, do whatever you wanted. You could get away dirt free as long as there was an underfunded police department without a fax machine. That's okay. And I tried so hard to sort of mimic what was that show on HBO? True Detective season 1. It was like they were trying to, I don't know which came first, but anyway, have you seen any shit lately?
Well, I guess I didn't hate Bullet Train as much as you did. I watched Violent Night. It was no Fat Man to me, but it was still okay.
Fat Man, Mel Gibson came out loud.
Yeah,
That was a good movie.
Great movie. Great holiday movie. I watched She Said. It's sort of the Harvey Weinstein story.
New York Times
the
reporting
New York Times
that broke, made Me Too a thing.
And then, just I'm trying to catch up on, here and there shows I haven't finished. I'm trying to go back because I got a couple days, so hopefully I'll get a job soon.
Oh, I'm sure you'll do fine. When it rains, it pours.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, I'll probably be out of a job this time next year, and then we'll do a real podcast. Then Aaron's going to have to hire me. I'll be his ace reporter in the Minnesota fields, reporting on hunting season, the first day of hunting season. All right. I'm Carlos Danger. That's Brian Spears. And this was Insufferable Bastards. See you next time.